So I think now we are with Mrs. Sababadi. Please.
Thank you, Madam. Question B, 258.
Madam Speaker, minor FA was an inmate of SOS Children's Village, Bamboo. He absconded and was found safe on 17th October 2025. On 23rd November 2025, he was admitted at Brown Sequoia Mental Health Care Center. Madam Speaker, I am informed that minor had been displaying a pattern of behavioral concerns and absconding tendencies. He first absconded from a residential care institution of Cap Malheureux on 5th May 2024 and was found safe the following day. He was conveyed to the Dr. A.G. G2 hospital where he was admitted. Subsequently, the maternal grandmother, in the presence of the minor's godmother, expressed her willingness to accommodate the minor at her residence. On 13th June 2024, the minor was discharged from AG G2 hospital to the care of the maternal grandmother after all the psychological assessment and necessary inquiry were effected. On 14th August 2024, minor FA was admitted to AG G2 hospital as he started to display signs of anxiety, hallucinations, and aggressiveness, and it was difficult for the grandmother to handle him. On 3rd October 2024, the minor was placed at residential care institution of Cap Malheureux. On 7th October 2024, the minor absconded from the residential care institution and an OB was entered bearing OB number 3687/24. On 13th November 2024, officers of my ministry were informed by the biological mother of the minor that the minor might have been seen loitering in the region of Cité-la-Cure. On the same day, the minor was found safe and was conveyed to G2 hospital. On 13th January 2025, the minor was placed at residential care institution of Cap Malheureux. However, on 16th January 2025, the minor was admitted to SSR National Hospital for medical issues. On 10th February 2025, the minor was accommodated at SOS Children's Village of Bamboo Residential Care Institution. On 23rd November 2025, the minor was admitted to the Brown Sequoia Mental Health Care Center for behavioral issues and was medically discharged on 1st December 2025. As regards Part B of the question, on 16th March 2026, following ingestion of metal bolts, minor was transferred from BSH to G2 hospital for appropriate medical care. Concerning Part C of the question, I'm informed by the Ministry of Health and Wellness that minor's health is stable. As at today, minor has not yet been medically discharged. Madam Speaker, on 17th and 25th March 2026, visits were conducted at G2 hospital by officers of my ministry for assessment purpose, as well as to provide minor support and counseling and inquiring about his health conditions. This case is being followed up and regular contacts are being maintained with the medical staff of the hospital.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Madame Speaker. Je remercie la ministre pour la réponse. L'honorable ministre peut-elle nous dire jusqu'à quand va perdurer ce système d'hospitalisation qui rend prisonniers des enfants innocents, qui les détruisent petit à petit entre shelter, BSH et hôpital? Madame la Présidente, il ne s'agit pas là de réparer un tuyau ou d'asphaltage d'une rue, mais il s'agit de la vie d'un être humain et d'un innocent. Merci.
Ça, c'était un statement.
C'est ça, je n'ai pas très bien compris la question, madame.
La question, c'est quand est-ce que ce calvaire va s'arrêter.
Je reformule la question.
Non, c'est pas nécessaire, c'était clair. C'est la deuxième partie qui n'était pas nécessaire.
Ben, j'ai une deuxième question.
Non, mais allez, reformulez votre première question.
Madame la Présidente, laissez-moi informer la Chambre que cette question d'hospitalisation de longue durée des enfants nous préoccupe également. C'est pourquoi nous avons jugé bon de mettre sur pied un comité coprésidé par mon collègue, le Attorney General et moi-même, pour revoir toute la question d'hospitalisation des enfants et surtout les enfants avec des comportements difficiles. Dans ce comité, nous avons plusieurs stakeholders. Nous avons les membres du SLO, nous avons le DPP qui est présent, nous avons également deux membres de cette assemblée, en l'occurrence la Chief Whip, Mme Anctil et Mme Tanou, qui font partie de ce comité. Il y a également les probation officers pour revoir toute la situation concernant l'hospitalisation des enfants à l'hôpital Jetty, dans les hôpitaux régionaux, de même que l'hôpital Brown-Séquard. Je sais également que mon collègue, le ministre de la Santé, a déjà proposé à un de ces comités qu'un ward, un dedicated ward, soit aménagé dans un ward à l'hôpital de Flac pour justement que les enfants en difficulté puissent être admis. Je comprends l'inquiétude des membres. Moi aussi, je suis inquiète parce que ces enfants-là ne peuvent pas aller à l'école. C'est une question que nous avons prise avec mon collègue, le ministre de l'Éducation, qui est en train de voir comment est-ce que ces enfants-là puissent continuer leur scolarité tout en étant à l'hôpital.
Yes, second question.
Thank you. La ministre conviendra-t-elle avec moi que c'est un énième échec de la CDU et des shelters du ministère? Qu'est-ce qui sera fait pour changer cette situation? Madame la ministre, je suis tout à fait d'accord avec votre question. On parle du changement, ça fait presque 1 an et demi depuis que nous sommes au pouvoir. Je pense qu'il est normal que nous soyons impatients.
Ne maltraitez pas le micro quand même.
Madame, je ne comprends pas pourquoi l'honorable membre parle d'échec. Parce que quand on parle de cet enfant qui est dans cette question-là, la question qui a été posée par vous-même, l'enfant est toujours sous la charge de l'hôpital parce que l'enfant n'a pas eu sa décharge. Dès que l'enfant a sa décharge de l'hôpital, bien sûr qu'on fera le nécessaire pour lui trouver soit une famille d'accueil ou alors un shelter, ou bien pourquoi pas ne pas réintégrer l'enfant dans sa famille biologique du moment qu'on est satisfait que l'environnement soit approprié.
OK, Miss Chief Whip, yes, and then Mr. Ramkelawan.
Je vous remercie, Madame. La ministre peut-elle indiquer à la Chambre si un officier de son ministère pourrait, en attendant les recommandations, on sait que ça va prendre du temps et tout, si un officier de son ministère pourrait être au chevet de ce mineur pendant le reste de son hospitalisation, étant donné que ce mineur est sous la responsabilité de son ministère.
Au chevet,
merci.
Vous comprenez?
Pendant l'hospitalisation, l'enfant est à l'hôpital.
Non, au chevet, ça veut dire quoi?
Au chevet, bon, c'est une expression française
oui?
Qui veut dire que attended, un enfant attended par un officier de son ministère.
24 heures sur 24?
Madame la Présidente, il y a déjà les infirmiers, les infirmières qui s'occupent de tous les enfants à l'hôpital. Mais il y a les officiers du ministère qui rendent visite de temps à autre aux enfants hospitalisés.
Non, mais je n'ai pas compris. Excusez-moi. Je ne vais pas faire comme le 9 décembre, ne vous inquiétez pas. Je n'ai pas compris le au chevet. Ça implique quoi? Je sais ce que ça veut dire au chevet. Au chevet, ça veut dire s'asseoir avec tout le temps, 24 heures sur 24. C'est ça? Non, donc vous êtes en train de dire ça. Et la ministre répond qu'il n'y a pas des gens du ministère, mais
Déjà, les infirmiers, les infirmières qui s'occupent des enfants 24/24 à l'hôpital. Mais il y a les officiers du ministère qui rendent visite pendant les heures de visite à ces enfants-là.
Non, non, j'ai déjà alloué une question à M. Ramkelawan. Bien sûr.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would just like to ask the Minister whether she can reinforce the monitoring committee, that is those officers who visit the hospital, because during my visit on Sunday itself, doctors stated that for days, the one kid has not been visited by any officer.
Voilà.
Yes, thank you.
OK?
Si, monsieur l'honorablement, monsieur le député, je vais m'en enquérir et voir de quoi il en est exactement.
Yes.
Une toute dernière question, merci Madame la Présidente. De ce que vient tout juste de dire la ministre, que les enfants sont sous surveillance 24/24 à l'hôpital, comment se fait-il que ce jeune homme de 16 ans, FA, admis à l'hôpital et avalé un morceau de métal? Merci.
D'abord, est-ce que vous êtes au courant? Avaler un morceau de métal, oui.
Il est surveillé 24/24.
Attendez, donnez-moi une seconde. Il a été... Non, mais ce n'était pas à l'hôpital qu'il a pris ce...
Laissez la
Oui.
ministre répondre. Comment?
C'est à BSH qu'il a avalé ce morceau de métal, puis il a été transféré à l'hôpital Jetty où il se retrouve actuellement. Merci.
Je pense que cette question-là aurait dû être adressée au ministre de la Santé.
On ne parle pas on ne parle pas. Madame la ministre, essayez de répondre à la question. C'est quelque chose d'important. Essayez de répondre.
Madame la Présidente, cet enfant est sous la charge de l'hôpital Brown-Séquard. Donc, c'est l'hôpital. Donc, l'officier du ministère ne peut pas être 24/24 à encadrer cet enfant-là. Il y a déjà le corps médical qui s'occupe de l'enfant. Les officiers du ministère entrent en jeu pendant les heures de visite.
OK. Moi, je ne dis plus rien. Moi, évidemment, j'ai mes idées. Fini? OK. On reviendra là-dessus, peut-être? À une autre occasion? OK. Mr. Kazem, yes?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B259, please.
Madam Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question. Madam Speaker, the cooperative sector remains an important pillar of our economic fabric. It promotes collective entrepreneurship, supports livelihoods and contributes to economic activity in areas such as agriculture, agro-processing, retail and services. Madam Speaker, the Cooperatives Division provides a number of schemes to promote and support the development of cooperative societies. These schemes are geared towards increasing productive capacity, supporting modernization, encouraging sustainable practices, and improving the operational efficiency of cooperatives. The schemes available for the financial year 2024 and 25 were as follows: the Boost to Local Production Scheme, the Livestock Farming Scheme, the Seedlings Production Scheme, the Zero Budget Natural Farming Scheme, the Digitalization Scheme, and the Waste Recycling Scheme. These schemes are aligned with government's objective of strengthening local production, supporting food security, improving access to quality planting materials, promoting livestock farming, encouraging environmentally sustainable activities, and helping cooperative societies adopt more efficient and modern operating practices. Madam Speaker, since I assumed office, I have laid particular emphasis on stronger oversight, better discipline in the management of public funds, and stricter compliance in the disbursement process. In line with the recommendation of National Audit Office report for the financial years 2022-23 and 23-24, my ministry has put in place reinforced control mechanisms. A project steering committee chaired by the Permanent Secretary of the Cooperatives Division has been set up. A monitoring committee chaired by the Acting Secretary for Cooperative Development has also been set up to oversee compliance with the terms and conditions of the schemes before any disbursement is effected. In addition, a technical evaluation committee has been set up to assess the eligibility of applications prior to the release of funds. Madam Speaker, for the financial year 2024 and 25, following the recommendation of the Technical Evaluation Committee, disbursements were effected to 18 beneficiary cooperative societies under the Boost to Local Production Scheme, the Livestock Farming Scheme and Digitalization Scheme amounting to 3.5 million, 600,000 rupees and 123,000 rupees respectively. Regarding the remaining schemes, namely the seedling production schemes and the waste recycling scheme, appropriate clearances have not been received by the cooperative societies for the requested development. Hence, no disbursement have been effected. For the financial year 2025 and 26, the Cooperatives Division is implementing the Boost to Local Production Scheme, the Seedling Production Scheme, the Livestock Farming Scheme, the Zero Budget Natural Farming Scheme, the Digitalization Scheme, and as a new measure, the Energy Efficiency Scheme for cooperative societies. The schemes were launched on 27th November 2025. The initial closing date of 13 January 2026 was extended to 30 January 2026. A total of 53 applications was received. As at date, the Technical Evaluation Committee has met on 2 occasions to assess the applications. The evaluation exercise is ongoing. Disbursements will be effected once the project is implemented by the cooperative society, and the latter applies for refund to my ministry. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Honorable Chief Whip.
Merci, Madame. B 260.
I thank the Honourable Member for the question, which once again gives me the opportunity to explain this issue about Maison de Transition. And I must admit, it seems as though that it has caught the attention of many, and for good reason. There was clearly a vide, and this is precisely what we are endeavoring to correct. Et il est un fait que je me suis senti interpellé depuis un long moment by the fact that many people found themselves without homes, without a roof over their heads for various reasons. So fate has it, now that I'm in a position that at least, even though I had taken note of this, and now I'm in a position to change it, and this is precisely what I've started to do. And I do not want to miss that opportunity to make use of this office for such a positive deed. I have already apprised Cabinet of my intention to come forward with the implementation of these Maisons de Transition, and it will basically consist of modular, expandable housing units made out of metal structures. Some people even refer to them as expandable container homes. They will be built on plots of land, state land, where utility services are available. I have mentioned this in August, in this August Assembly at the sitting of the 31st of March 2026, and this project concerns 2 other ministries, the Ministry of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity, and that of Gender Equality and Family Welfare. I clearly would like to underline once again that I propose to meet with my 2 colleagues in order to coming forward with the policy framework. Concurrently, the Ministry of Finance is also being kept in the picture.
Thank you. Yes.
Merci, Madame. Can the Minister outline the main challenges that could be encountered in implementing transitional housing initiatives? Thank you.
I think that's a very good question. There are quite a few challenges, I must admit. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is money. That is one of the first challenges that all of us have to face when it comes to any such project. However, there are priorities in life, and one of the priorities of this government is to have roofs over people's head, those who don't have a roof. So obviously, this is a priority. Now, we have to ensure that it is a project that sees the light of day. Another challenge that we face is also to find the appropriate plot of land. And to find that appropriate plot of land, there is an exercise that is being carried out by officers of my ministry and that of the of NHDC. And the objective of that exercise is to identify the appropriate sites geotechnically, the appropriate sites close to amenities, close to transport. We don't want to be faced with problems such as no water, no waste. So therefore, it would be a situation where it is a plug and play, where you have the house is put there and the solution is there for everyone to utilize. But the third issue, which we do have as well, is that who are those who will have access to those homes? And that is the reason why I will be working closely with my two colleagues from the two other ministries in order to come up with a policy framework. Some have suggested that all people should be allowed to have access to those homes. As I said, Madam Speaker, this is a maison de transition, and it is what I understand it to be is an emergency home for an emergency situation. So therefore, I would not want to use the right term is a halfway home, but the halfway home, it's more specifically for those who come out from prison at a certain point in time, or need a temporary home as a halfway measure, etc. But this is specifically used for probation issues. I know what I'm talking about. So I don't want to use that term. I would say that those are homes that would be used temporarily for a certain time, and then the authorities, ministries and agencies will have to accompany those people who are qualified to be there to go to a permanent home. So this is be a transition. So there are many challenges.
Je vous remercie, Madame. Puis-je savoir du ministre s'il est victime de violences domestiques, ainsi que les ex-détenus pourront bénéficier de ce dispositif de logement transitoire? Merci.
It's an interesting point. I do not want to pronounce myself on this at this particular juncture. It will be for my colleagues together with my ministry and finally for Cabinet to decide who will be those who will have access to those homes. Now, if it were in an ideal world, then everyone should have access to all facilities. But we have to ensure we use best practice in various other jurisdictions. What is done in the OECD countries, what is done in countries that neighbor Mauritius, such as South Africa, what is done in Australia, what is done in many other countries. We'll use best practice to see how we could. But then again, I would love to be able to go faster, because right now it is only a theory, but we would like to see it implemented. We have found 2 plots of land, one in Parlement and one in constituency number 4. Yes, and it is not. It is not because we have those 2 honourable members who are from. It's just a coincidence. It just happens to be the case. Apart from the fact that they've been on my ensuring that we find solutions, but those are the 2 plots of land that have been found. And we are finalizing the analysis of the suitability, but it looks that it could be there.
Yes.
Madame
Your last
Lanière,
question.
oui, je vous remercie. Will the Honourable Minister state whether budgetary provisions will be made for transitional housing in the next financial year? En tout cas, bravo au ministre pour cette belle initiative réfléchie qui permettra aux personnes vulnérables de retrouver stabilité et dignité. Merci.
If only I knew. If only I knew. Let me say one thing. There are projects that are urgent. There are those that are less urgent than others. So obviously, I will have to go and submit before those responsible to ensure that we get the necessary budget. But this is a very important project. And I will also be calling upon the private sector if ever there is a defiance in that effect. So, but we'll find solutions. We'll find solutions.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I ask the Honourable Minister whether he can enlighten the House as to whether this transitional housing would also be extended to other constituencies, in particular constituency number 11, being given that the housing project in constituency 11 has now come to a halt. Thank you.
I thought it was quite clear.
I believe that, you see, when I'm talking about one project of transitional home, I'm not talking about 100 houses. I'm not talking about huge number of houses. We're talking about maybe the possibility of having at least 15, 20 houses in a locality. So the intention is, yes, to be able to have this bank of houses for transitional purposes in many areas of Mauritius. And if we could start with those two places and then gradually move to other areas of Mauritius, that would be the best case scenario. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Seaburn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question B/261, please.
Madam Speaker, I am informed that the football ground at Grand Sable is presently not equipped with lighting facilities. Following my reply to PQ B764 on 27 July 2025, the District Council of Grand Port was requested to submit a detailed funding application estimated at approximately 4 million rupees for the implementation of the project. I am informed that while the project has been proposed under successive budget exercise, namely 2024-2025 and 2025-2026, it could not be implemented due to other priorities and non-availability of funds. At present, no specific provisions are available under the District Council's approved budget for the execution of the project. However, the project has already been included in the list of proposed capital projects under the Small Community Project Program for the financial year 2026-2027. Madam Speaker, I wish to further inform the House that under the existing framework of cooperation, a sum has been earmarked per constituency under the Indian Grant Assistance for Small Community Projects. This mechanism provides an appropriate and dedicated avenue through which priority community-based infrastructure projects, including the installation of lighting facilities at Grand Sable football ground, may be financed and implemented. In this context, the Honourable Member may wish to liaise with his two colleagues of his constituency and ensure that this specific project is duly prioritized and formally included within the list of projects submitted under the Indian Grant Programme, so that the necessary funding can be secured and mobilized in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister also consider providing financial assistance in the forthcoming budget with regards to the football pitch along the coastal region, including football pitch at Bombou-Vierieux and Bois des Amourettes, being given that we are relentlessly campaigning to attract the youth to engage into sports facilities while combating the drug proliferation problem in Mauritius?
Yes, Minister.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Following the PQ B764, which was asked on 22nd July 2025, this request has already been examined and has already been proposed in the next financial year, 2026-2027. I have to say that it depends on the priorities and subject to availability of funds. Again.
Yes. Mr. Bijan?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B262.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I shall reply to PQ B262. I wish to inform the House that the existing lateral access road leading to Anslari Public Beach measures approximately 475 meters in length and 6 meters in width. With regard to the proposed widening of this road, I am informed that such an undertaking would require the acquisition of a minimum strip of approximately 2 meters along the existing alignment. The road is presently bounded by 6 plots of land on either side, comprising 2 state land portions, 1 privately owned plot, several plots with unidentified ownership. In this context, any land acquisition process would be complex, time-consuming, and subject to statutory procedures. Madam Speaker, I wish to emphasize that no formal request, petition, or representation has been received at the level of the Village Council, the District Council, or my ministry from resident landowners or elected councillors regarding the enlargement of this access road according to the Chief Executive of the Council. As regard financial implication, the estimated cost of the project, including land acquisition, road construction, and associated infrastructure such as road marking, lighting, is around 17 million. However, the District Council currently has a provision of only 3.4 million rupees earmarked for general road rehabilitation works across its villages and is therefore not in a position to undertake such a project at this stage. At present, no specific provision exists under the District Council approved budget for the execution of this project. Madam Speaker, with respect to the construction of an alternative access road to alleviate traffic congestion, particularly during festive period, I am informed that a detailed land survey and feasibility access would first need to be carried out to determine the most appropriate alignment. This would equally entail additional land acquisition and significant financial resources. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding these constraints, Government remains committed to improving public access infrastructure. In this regard, I wish to inform the House that, following the request of the Honourable Member, the project has already been included in the list of proposed capital projects under the Small Community Project Programme for the financial year 2026-2027 and will be considered accordingly subject to priorities and availability of funds. Moreover, I am informed that the National Development Unit has funding for road rehabilitation program and the project may, where appropriate, be referred for consideration under this scheme as well. Accordingly, implementation of the project will be subject to availability of funds, completion of required surveys, and compliance with all procedures, including land acquisition. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Bijan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the Honourable Minister arrange for a site visit with all stakeholders, including Mori facilities, so that we can ensure well in advance that clearing and lopping works are carried out in a timely manner? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I am agreeable. My ministry will liaise with all the district councils and most facilities, but I think that district council is enough because with the recent recruitment that we have, we can do it in-house, with in-house labor. Yes,
Thank you. Yes. The Honourable François, yes.
Yes, thank you. B/263.
Madam Speaker, the multi-use game area is a community-based fund and fitness program initiated by the Moses Telecom Foundation with the objective of promoting healthy living through physical activity and education for all segments of the population. This was part of its corporate social responsibility activities. There are 13 such facilities, and these have progressively been handed over to the Mauritius Sport Council for their management and operation. The final handing over for the 13 Mugas has just been completed on the 18th March 2026. As regards Rodrigues, I'm informed by the MTF that a sport infrastructure similar to the Muga concept has been constructed by the latter at Bay du Nord in May 2025 for a total cost of around 9.5 million. It is known as Bay du Nord Sports Complex and is managed by the Rodrigues Regional Assembly. As regards to part B of the question, there is no plan for the construction of 2 mugas by my ministry in the central and eastern region of Rodrigues. The possibility of having 2 additional facilities in Rodrigues as part of the MTF CSR activities rests with the latter, and the RRA may engage with them to secure such facilities.
Yes? All right. Good. Ms. Sanctier?
Merci, Madame. B264.
Madame la Présidente, la WMA m'informe que les projets de tout à l'égout de la circonscription numéro 18 concernent principalement les régions de Belle-Rose, Quatre-Bornes, La Sauce, Palma et Bassin, qui font partie du vaste projet d'assainissement des plaines Williams. Ce grand projet a été lancé en 2000 afin de protéger la principale nappe phréatique de la région de plaine Williams contre la pollution par les eaux usées issues des activités domestiques et industrielles. Dans le cadre de ce projet, les habitants de Belle-Rose et de Quatre-Bornes ont été raccordés au réseau d'égouts publics dans le cadre de 2 contrats d'assainissement suivants. Le premier, le projet d'assainissement de plaine Williams, le 2, donc qui comprend Quatre-Bornes Centre, Sudnac et Belle-Rose, et 2, le deuxième projet de plaine Williams, c'est le 1A, donc West Rosil, un peu plus bas, Southwest Quatre-Bornes et Central Quatre-Bornes. Madame la Présidente, la WMA m'informe que le projet d'assainissement de l'O 2 de plaine Williams a été mené avec la pose de 99,4 km de tuyaux d'égout, le remplacement de 47,4 km de tuyaux d'eau et le raccordement d'environ 10 000 foyers au réseau d'égout public. La WMA m'informe également que dans le cadre du lot E1E, 102 km de tuyaux d'égout ont été installés et qu'environ 6 800 maisons ont été raccordées au réseau public. Depuis, 40 km de canalisation CWA ont été remplacés. Madame la Présidente, suite à la fermeture de ce projet, de ce contrat des plaines Williams en 2018, la WMA a procédé au cours des dernières années à la réalisation progressive des travaux d'assainissement restants dans le cadre des contrats distincts. À ce jour, 4,37 km d'égouts ont été construits et environ 978 maisons ont été raccordées au réseau public grâce à 3 projets menés sur la route Bassin, La Sauce et Quatre-Bornes. Je peux communiquer bien sûr la liste des rues concernées à l'honorable membre si elle le souhaite. La WMA a annoncé qu'un appel d'offres est en cours auprès du CBB pour un projet d'assainissement à Palma et à Quatre-Bornes, comprenant la construction de 6 km de tuyaux et de raccordement de 500 maisons, habitations, maisons. La date limite de dépôt de candidature était le 1er avril 2026. De plus de ce qui précède, la WMA propose de mettre en place un accord cadre, un scheme, comme on dit dans le jargon, pour réaliser les raccordements restants aux égouts domestiques dans les différentes régions concernées et les sur différentes périodes financières en fonction des fonds disponibles.
Good, yes.
Je vous remercie, Madame. Au nom des habitants de Palma, le docteur Boulel et moi-même, nous remercions le ministre pour sa réponse. L'honorable ministre peut-il indiquer à la Chambre qui est tenu responsable des retards, de la mauvaise mise en œuvre des raccordements au réseau d'assainissement à Belle-Rose-Quatre-Bornes? Merci.
Je ne sais pas, Madame, si j'ai ces renseignements, mais ce que je peux communiquer à la Chambre, c'est que les travaux de traitement des eaux usées ainsi que le remplacement des tuyaux pour la circonscription numéro 18 était initialement prévu dans le cadre d'un projet d'études à l'égout financé par la Banque européenne d'investissement et le Exim Bank de China. Les travaux de l'E2 ont été achevés en 2014. Toutefois, il faut bien le dire, j'espère que je répondrai à cette question-là, toutefois, suite à une décision gouvernementale en avril 2015, les travaux ont été interrompus dans le cadre du contrat de l'E1A, financé par BEI, qui n'a abouti qu'à un achèvement partiel des zones concernées. Il a donc été décidé de terminer les travaux restants par étapes. Donc cela a été arrêté en 2015 par l'ancien gouvernement. À ce jour, la première phase des travaux d'assainissement de la route bassin a été achevée et avec 225 maisons raccordées. Qui est responsable? C'est l'ancien qui m'a précédé. Donc, et il y a aussi, je peux dire que le contrat le plus récent attribué à Sotravic, dans ce cas de ce projet, est les eaux usées à la source 4 bornes et c'est environ relevant de la circonscription numéro 13, a pris du retard, initialement prévu pour le 10 février 2025, l'année dernière. Ce contrat a été retardé principalement en raison de l'incapacité de l'entrepreneur à mobiliser les ressources nécessaires. Donc, voilà ce que je peux dire à la Chambre.
À ce stade. Yes.
Si, le ministre peut-il indiquer à la Chambre si les installations de traitement des eaux usées sont soumises à des normes nationales et internationales strictes en matière de protection de l'environnement, assorties d'obligations précises quant à la qualité des rejets? Je vous remercie.
Encore une fois, quand même, ce sont des questions assez techniques, Madame la Présidente, mais je peux dire que le tout à l'égout de Belle-Rose, 4 bornes, sont acheminés vers la station de Saint-Martin. Donc nous avons 3 stations, 3 grosses stations de traitement, donc Saint-Martin, Montagne-Jacot, Grand B et Butte-Tombeau, donc 4. Donc, et les effluents traités sont rejetés en mer à Pointe-Moyenne. Ils sont traités de façon tertiaire. Et la qualité est conforme. La qualité, oui, la qualité est conforme à la recommandation 2003 relative aux normes de rejet effluent en mer en vertu de la loi de 2024 sur la protection de l'environnement. Et la WMA est responsable de l'exploitation et l'entretien de 4 grandes stations d'épuration, dont l'exploitation et l'entretien de la station de Saint-Martin, qui est sous-traité à un opérateur privé Sotravic.
Ms. Colette?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B265, please.
Madam Speaker, this government is committed to the implementation of measures for the modernization and digital transformation of the nation. To this end, 85 million rupees have been earmarked for the next 3 years for the provision of free internet connection to around 7,000 households. That is around 27,000 persons on the social register of Mauritius SRM of the Republic of Mauritius. The primary objective behind this most important budgetary measure of 2025-2026 is to bridge the digital divide and ensure that these vulnerable households are digitally connected. In my reply to a PQ on the subject on 2nd December 2025, I informed the House that an online platform was being developed to facilitate the implementation of this measure. I'm pleased to inform that the National Empowerment Foundation, NEF, has, as from 4 February 2026, issued 6,140 notices to beneficiaries, 3,530 in Mauritius and 2,610 in Rodrigues, to invite them to avail of internet gratis from any one of the free internet service providers, ISPs, of their choice. My ministry has similarly issued 471 notices to those households eligible under the SRM who have opted not to sign the social contract with NEF. Needful is being done to issue notices to around 500 newly eligible households. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to inform that in 2 months, as at 6 April 2026, internet gratis connection has successfully been provided to around 5,191 households, representing 70% of the household under the SRM. As per reports, 2,415 households, 90% of households in Rodrigues under SRM have been connected as at 6 April 2026. In regard to Rodrigues, the Internet Gratis project was implemented by the NEF, National Empowerment Foundation Division of Rodrigues, falling under my ministry. Madam Speaker, reference has been made recently in the media that a past scheme known as free broadband internet. I would like to remind members that this scheme was introduced in the financial year 2019-2020 and abruptly put to an end in June 2022 by the previous government. En 2022, il paraît qu'il a tout éclaté, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the implementation of this budget measure is successfully enabling vulnerable families in the Republic of Mauritius, including our citizens in Rodrigues, to be digitally connected and avail of internet facilities. These households are henceforth benefiting from free internet connection for their self-development and empowerment while adopting a constructive approach toward learning and developing skills for employability in the digital economy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Yes. What about?
Just,
You did have a question? Okay.
on a technical point of view, may I know from the Honourable Minister whether the free internet is a one-point connection per house, or is it per family registered under the SRM? Probably there's 2 or 3 families in one household, or?
The project is providing broad-based, home-based internet connection to the household.
Household, yes. Ms. Colette, you're okay? Thank you. All right. Mr. Kazem?
B266, merci.
Madame la Présidente, comme la Chambre le sait, le conflit au Moyen-Orient a gravement perturbé la chaîne d'approvisionnement en pétrole et en gaz. La State Trading Corporation s'approvisionnant en fuel used, heavy fuel oil, pour la CEB, pour la production d'électricité, cette dernière doit faire face à une hausse des primes liées aux récents changements d'itinéraire des navires transportant du carburant, comme l'a expliqué ce matin le Premier ministre de la PNQ. Ainsi, la valeur d'une cargaison d'environ 33 500 tonnes de fuel lourd livrée à Port-Louis la semaine dernière a coûté 489 millions de roupies en plus que dans des circonstances normales, soit une augmentation de 68% sur la facture du CEB. À ce rythme, et avec une fréquence moyenne d'une telle cargaison par mois, le coût pour le CEB devient extrêmement important, sinon intenable. Depuis le début de la guerre, la Central Electricity Board a pris un certain nombre de mesures pour gérer ces niveaux de stock de fuel lourd, de heavy fuel oil, tels que l'optimisation de l'utilisation du charbon, donc on brûle plus de charbon pour économiser l'huile lourde. Donc sur 20 jours, nous avons pu avoir 8 jours supplémentaires de heavy fuel oil. Nous avons eu le report de la maintenance des centrales à charbon. Les centrales à charbon des IPPs ont des périodes de maintenance que nous avons repoussées pour que nous puissions utiliser le maximum de charbon et moins de l'huile lourde, parce que actuellement, ça coûte plus cher que le charbon. Nous avons aussi eu une réduction de notre réserve tournante, c'est-à-dire que le spinning reserve de ce que nous avons. Vous savez, le CEB, en temps normal, ils ont un spinning reserve, c'est comme on dit dans une voiture, une veilleuse. Donc, en principe, nous gardons 35 MW de spinning reserve. Donc, la machine peut augmenter sa capacité de 35 MW en quelques secondes. Donc, nous gardons cette réserve de 35 MW qui coûte. Bien sûr, on brûle à ce moment-là de l'huile lourde pour pouvoir garder la réserve. Ce que nous avons fait, nous avons réduit la réserve de 35 MW à 20-25 MW pour brûler moins d'huile lourde. Mais le risque est là. Si une machine de plus de 30 MW tombe en panne à tout moment, on se retrouve à ce moment-là dans un partial délestage. Donc c'est un risque que nous prenons actuellement, mais c'est un risque calculé. Par ailleurs, Madame la Présidente, la campagne de sensibilisation à la conservation et économie d'énergie qui a débuté en octobre a été maintenue, octobre de l'année dernière, a été maintenue et est en cours de renforcement. Donc, j'ai donné des instructions pour qu'on recommence cette campagne de conscientisation d'efficience énergétique, de sobriété énergétique. Mon ministère, en collaboration avec IMO, qui est sous mon ministère, et le CEB, a mis en place une campagne de sensibilisation économie d'énergie visant à réduire la consommation, notamment aux heures de pointe. Cette campagne est diffusée sur la MBC à la radio, sur les réseaux sociaux et dans le métro. Et dans les établissements scolaires, le public est invité à adopter des pratiques de consommation d'énergie responsables et à éviter les gaspillages. Demain, le Premier ministre préside une réunion sur la crise énergétique. Nous allons faire des propositions pour réglementer et appliquer des pénalités si nécessaire pour ceux et celles qui gaspillent l'électricité et l'énergie. Face au défi actuel, la campagne de sensibilisation est accélérée et ne se limitera pas à la consommation d'électricité aux heures de pointe, mais en général. Madame la Présidente, je tiens à préciser que l'IMO prévoit des interventions ciblées depuis quelque temps, ciblées à des destinations des grands consommateurs d'énergie. On a à Maurice les compagnies, des sociétés, des activités énergivores qui prennent beaucoup d'électricité. Donc nous allons cibler ces organismes, que ce soit privés ou publics. Ainsi, les grands consommateurs d'énergie et secteurs publics et privés seront tenus de soumettre à mon ministère et l'IMO, donc demain on va soumettre ce plan-là, un plan d'action formel détaillant la mise en œuvre des recommandations issues de leur audit énergétique. l'IMO travaillera en collaboration avec le ministère de l'Environnement afin d'orienter les cellules vertes déjà mises en place au sein d'organismes publics. Quant au secteur privé, des lignes directrices détaillées ont été émises. Madame la Présidente, mon ministère et l'IMO travaillent à l'élaboration d'un règlement d'application de la loi 2011 sur l'efficacité énergétique afin de permettre l'imposition des restrictions temporaires sur la consommation d'électricité pour les usages non essentiels, non liés à la sécurité. Cette mesure de précaution contribuera à gérer l'approvisionnement en fuel lourd, heavy fuel oil, et à prolonger la durée de vie des stocks disponibles en limitant la consommation d'électricité. Car vous réalisez, une cargaison nous coûte 489 millions de roupies en plus. Le 16 de ce mois-ci, une nouvelle cargaison arrive. Ce sera encore une fois au minimum 489 millions supplémentaires. Vous réalisez en espace 14 jours 1 milliard de roupies supplémentaires. Donc, une cargaison nous coûte autour de 1,2 milliard de roupies. 2 cargaisons, ce sera 2,4 milliards de roupies. C'est intenable. Pour cette raison que nous allons faire des propositions demain au comité. Et on a aussi 8 mesures, mais je vais déposer les mesures. On a aussi 8 mesures que nous avons préconisées et que je peux déposer pour la Chambre. Madame la Présidente, je saisis cette occasion pour lancer un appel au public, aux ménages, aux entreprises privées, publiques, collectivités locales, industries, centres commerciaux, hôtels et plus généralement toutes les parties prenantes afin qu'ils utilisent l'électricité efficacement et sans gaspillage pour des activités superflues. Donc nous, on se retrouve, Madame la Présidente, dans une situation de crise énergétique. Le prix continue à augmenter. Avant de venir ici à l'Assemblée nationale, je regardais un reportage où le président Trump dit que ce soir, l'Iran va plus exister. L'accord du monde va changer. Donc vous réalisez, là où vous prenez notre heavy fuel oil à Fujura, ils n'arrivent plus à fournir. On a dû bouger pour aller à Singapour avec les conséquences que nous voyons, 500 millions par cargaison. Donc cette commodité va devenir de plus en plus rare. C'est pour cette raison que hier, j'ai annoncé, le Premier ministre a repris aujourd'hui, j'ai annoncé des propositions concrètes pour combattre à la longue, aux 3 ans à venir, pour combattre ce que nous avons, la dépendance que nous avons sur les produits pétroliers. Donc cela va prendre son temps qu'il faut, mais nous avons amorcé quelque chose.
Merci. Yes.
Je remercie l'honorable ministre pour sa réponse. Puis-je demander au ministre s'il existe déjà un mécanisme ou un mécanisme sera mis en place justement pour jauger ou pour définir, pour voir l'efficacité des mesures annoncées, que ce soit à travers des campagnes de sensibilisation ou autres, pour assurer l'efficacité des mesures qui sont en train d'être prises au niveau du ministère. Merci.
Oui, c'est sûr, oui. La question est pertinente et la question est une très bonne question. Oui, c'est vrai. Oui. L'IMO et Marina, deux institutions qui tombent directement sous mon ministère, travaillent à ce que nous avons en temps réel l'efficacité des mesures de la campagne d'efficience énergétique que nous menons depuis quelque temps. Donc, à travers la radio, les explications, les émissions de radio, oui. Donc, depuis la dernière campagne, nous avons pu économiser entre 3 et 6 mégawatts. Donc, entre 3 et 6 mégawatts de... Pardon?
Je croyais que vous aviez fini.
Non.
Non, allez-y.
Allez, vous êtes sûr, je peux, oui. Alors, entre 3 et 6 mégawatts d'économie. Voyez? Donc, cette campagne, c'est vrai. Et un soir, on était dans le rouge. L'année dernière, on était dans le rouge. Et avec la campagne d'information, cette campagne de conscientisation, donc ça a descendu à 8 à 9 mégawatts. Oui, donc pour l'instant, on ne peut pas dire combien de millions de roupies nous allons économiser, parce qu'on n'économise pas malheureusement avec le prix qui est actuel, mais il y a un mécanisme de suivi. Oui.
Ok, maintenant, Ms. Colette.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister confirm to the House whether the measures his ministry has envisaged will be applicable to Rodrigues Island, including the set of regulations?
Oui.
In toto.
In toto.
In collaboration with the RRA.
In collaboration with the RRA.
Thank you, sir.
It's like a song, huh? It's like a song. Okay. Now the next question is Honourable Jagannath.
Madam Speaker, please.
I'm sorry. I think we remain in Rodrigues. Yes. Mr. François. Sorry.
Yes, Madam Speaker. B-stroke 267.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I will reply to BQB267 since I am replacing the substantive minister. I wish to inform the House that in accordance with existing procedures, officers who qualify for payment of the night shift, extra duty, or overtime allowances have to submit their claims duly certified by their head of sections at the beginning of every month with respect to claims for the preceding months before payment may be effected. As at date, there are no delays in the payment of night shift or extra duty allowances in respect which claims have already been submitted. However, I am informed that there has been delays in the payment of overtime allowances in some ministries, departments, such as the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service in view of late submission of claims by eligible officers, as well as budgetary provision for overtime for the financial year 2025-2026 having been exhausted. I am informed that additional fundings have been requested from the Ministry of Finance. Madam Speaker, it has been observed that over the years, overtime costs have been increasing drastically despite the provision of additional human resources. In this context, the Ministry is presently working on a new measures in consultation with our ministries, departments concerned on this issue of excessive overtime and allowances for control purposes. These new measures aim to bringing efficiency gains through judicious use of human and financial resources. Thank you, Madam.
Madam Speaker, can I put just one supplementary? I know the Honourable Minister is not the substantive Minister. Is the Honourable Minister aware of a grievance of some public officers in Rodrigues since the last payment of the allowances over time were effected since October last year? And today, 5 months after, there's a lot of colère parmi les fonctionnaires. How can these grievances be remedied?
Madam Speaker?
Yes?
I can only take the request
I'm all ears.
Yeah, okay. I can only take the request and send it to the substantive minister, the request. Okay?
Thank you. Yes? Okay, okay. Now that's okay? No more questions? Now, Mr. Jagannath.
Madame la Présidente, s'il vous plaît, B6-8.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I understand that the Honourable Member is referring to lands in the vicinity of Avenue Pélican at Saint-Martin in Bellon. With regard to Part A of the question, I am informed that these lands are not state land. With regards to Parts B and C, the issues raised, namely the construction of new buildings and the regularization of the situation of residents whose houses stand thereat, relate to the granting of building and land use permits, which fall within the purview of the District Council of Savane. I am accordingly informed by the District Council of Savane that there are long-standing structures on site that have existed for over 20 years, in addition to some 10 dwellings. The issue is that none of those occupiers possess the necessary title deeds, and consequently no new development has been permitted thereat. Development in this area could potentially be regularized, provided that a legal title is held in the first instance, and that all development activities comply with planning norms and existing legislation. But as the Honourable Member would agree, that is not for me to decide, but for the relevant authorities to pronounce upon it.
Yes. Are you all right, Mr. Jagannath? You're happy? Okay. Okay, Honourable First Member for Piton, Dr. Pryor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B269, please.
Madam Speaker, according to International Labour Organization, overtime is generally defined as working time performed in excess of the normal statutory working hours during a day or a week. Madam Speaker, insofar as my ministry is concerned, the question of overtime is directly associated to the fact that there is an obligation to ensure continuity of health services to the population in a 24-hour basis. This includes round-the-clock hospital care services, extended service hours at community health centers and area health centers, and the delivery of new and specialized services such as diabetic foot care, renal transplant follow-up including dialysis, cardiac care, and geriatric services. In addition, there is a chronic shortage of staff at all levels for various reasons, such as attrition, retirement, migration of skilled personnel, and the deaths of qualified professionals in several specialized fields. To ensure continuity of services with the population, my ministry often has no other alternative than to have recourse to overtime work. Moreover, in view of its mandate, my ministry is required to carry out urgent and sustained field intervention often beyond normal working hours in order to ensure timely and effective response to public health emergencies, which inevitably results in overtime costs. Madam Speaker, following my assumption of office, I took note that there were several outstanding bills amounting to more than 2.2 billion rupees, including COVID vaccine, 575 millions, medical disposable, 440 millions, overseas treatment, 500 millions, provision and stores, 148 millions, cleaning of services premises, 95 millions, maintenance of plant and equipment, 70 millions, fuel and oil, 47 millions, and overtime allowances, which was about 688 million rupees. However, further investigations carried out at the level of my ministry and health institutions are revealed that the figures can be far higher. In fact, in many cases, claims have not been settled since as far back as 2015. In some cases, for example, for claims from overseas hospitals, appropriate records also are not available, making settlement of claims extremely difficult. I'm also informed that many officers who had worked overtime didn't submit claims as payments were not being made. Hence, the exact amount outstanding is still unknown. The House may wish to recall that an amount of 500 million rupees was voted through estimates of supplementary expenditure in April 2025 to cater for additional expenses relating to overtime. However, these funds were not sufficient to cover all their outstanding claims. Madam Speaker, in my reply to private notice question on New Cancer Hospital on 8th April 2025, I had informed that the House, that my ministry has inherited a debt burden of over 2.2 billion rupees from the previous government. Again, in my intervention on budget speech 25th June 2025, I had emphasized that healthcare workers of various grades had not been paid their duly earned overtime for several months or even years. Madam Speaker, I'm informed that there is presently an outstanding amount of some 530 millions in respect of overtime allowances relating mainly to hospital services, clinical care, field public health operations, ambulance and transport services, laboratory and imaging services, health surveillance activities, maintenance and general services, as well as administrative and support services across regional health institutions and specialized units of the ministry. For instance, outstanding overtime payable to the staff of my ministry, medical staff, 80.6 millions, attendant hospital services, 24.5 million, nurses, 5.5 million. Madam Speaker, with regard to party of the question, the great concern over the cover the following broad categories. A, ambulance staff, including ambulance attendants and ambulance drivers. B, hospital services staff, including attendant, senior attendant, ward assistant, laundry, linen room, and mortuary staff. C, nursing staff and healthcare assistant. D, medical staff, including medical and senior medical health officers and community physicians. E, health surveillance and field public health staff, including insecticide sprayers, rodent control attendant, field supervisors, and health surveillance. F, drivers, lorry loaders, and transport facilitation staff. G, health records, laboratory imaging and technical support staff. H, catering, maintenance, freights and general service staff. And 2, the support and administrative staff across general services, finance, procurement, and human resources section. I also wish to point out that my ministry continues to receive additional claims for overtime performed during previous years, which have not yet been submitted nor consolidated. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that over the past 3 years, overtime expenditure has remained consistently high due to the operational demands placed on the health sector. Madam Speaker, as regards part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that the claims for overtime are being paid and will continue to be paid as and when savings can be identified within the current financial year. In addition, my ministry is working closely with the Ministry of Finance for reallocation of funds from savings under other estimates. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Prayan, you happy?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Difficult to be happy. I wish to thank the Minister, the Honourable Minister, for this explicit answer, which replies also to the question of, no, it's the same question of Honourable from Rodrigues also. In view of the growing financial strain being experienced by healthcare workers, their families, difficulties in meeting their educational needs, their household needs, their health needs, I feel that health workers are being penalized in this situation. And we agree that it's because of the previous regime's doing. Is the Minister envisaging any expedited or special mechanism through the Ministry of Finance to ensure prompt settlement of these outstanding overtime allowances.
I have made it very clear in one sentence. He had never been a minister. If he had been so, he would have known. A minister has got only one power, that we make a request to the Ministry of Finance for the reallocation of funds. Means if funds which are available in other departments which had not been utilized, I have made a request to the Ministry of Finance to allow us to use that money in order to pay whatever we owe to those people.
But his role is to keep you all on your toes. Right.
I thank him for that.
Yes, Mr. Francois.
Yes. Honourable Minister, does the quantum you just mentioned includes the 25 million or so backlog of payment at the Commission for Health in Rodrigues with an accumulation of around 20 million monthly? A backlog of 25 million. Is that included in your quantum you just mentioned? Or it's just a separate, it's not included?
No. See, I have given a global picture. At the same time, I have categorized all the different groups where we are owing. That's all.
Yeah, all right. Another question.
Is the minister aware that there are staff that have passed away while waiting for their overtimes and now their relatives are looking for these salaries?
I hope this burden will not be put upon us. We are doing our duty without fear or favor, and we are doing it for the welfare of each and everybody. So this must be very much clear. And those who have looted the country, those who have bled the country white, must be held responsible for that.
Okay, now I think we've gone round this question, right? Now let us ask Ms. Manon. Ms. Manon is going to speak, please.
Thank you. B270.
Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the Honourable Third Member from Rodrigues to raise this issue, which is causing a considerable inconvenience to workers in Rodrigues who have to sue their employers who are domiciled in Mauritius. The Rodrigues Labour Office is under the purview of the Commission for Tourism, Employment, Labour and Industrial Relations, Information, Technology and Telecommunication of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly. However, I'm informed that since 2023, 66 cases have been registered at my ministry for employers domiciled in the island of Mauritius for inquiry and possible court action which involve employees from Rodrigues. Out of those 66 cases, 48 cases in respect of which inquiry has been completed have been referred back to Rodrigues Labour Office for necessary action. 10 cases are still under inquiry at the level of my ministry. 3 cases concern restatement, of which 2 were referred to the Employment Relations Tribunal, where an agreement was reached between the parties and both workers were reinstated. As far as the third case for reinstatement is concerned, although the termination of work was justified, the parties agreed to reach an out-of-court settlement through an ex gratia payment. In regard to the 5 remaining cases, 4 workers have withdrawn their complaints, among others due to cost implication relating to attendance at the industrial court in Mauritius, while the last remaining case has been referred back to Rodrigues Labour Office for further inquiry prior to lodging a case before the Industrial Court of Mauritius. Madam Speaker, as regards the issue of territorial jurisdiction to lodge a case, I'm informed that prior to October 2020, it had been the practice for officers of the Rodrigues Labour Office to lodge cases against defaulting employers, including those domiciled in Mauritius, before the Industrial Court Rodrigues Division, so before the Industrial Court in Rodrigues. However, following a ruling delivered on the 26th of October 2020 in the matter of Johnson Bégué and Miss Ariel Dulcie André against Morito Limited by the Industrial Court Rodrigues Division, the court held that the Court of Rodrigues is not competent to hear cases where a defendant employer is domiciled in Mauritius. Mr. Béguet had, on the 10th of November 2020, written to the Chief Justice of Mauritius requesting a review of the said ruling. However, on 24th November 2020, Mr. Béguet was informed that the reviewing authority had found no valid reason to review the decision, and his application was set aside. Since then, all cases where employers are domiciled in the island of Mauritius, have to be lodged before the industrial court in Mauritius. Madam Speaker, as there is considerable inconvenience for a labour dispute involving a worker residing in Rodrigues Island and his employer domiciled in Mauritius to be resolved before the industrial court in Mauritius, my ministry is taking up the matter with the Attorney General's office with a view to finding an appropriate solution.
Thank you. Yes.
Merci beaucoup pour la réponse, Monsieur le ministre, l'honorable ministre. Je voudrais quand même vous demander, dans les cas où le tribunal industriel de Rodrigues n'a pas juridiction et où le travailleur est contraint d'intenter une action à Maurice, le ministre peut-il indiquer si une aide financière ou une assistance juridique sera fournie à ces travailleurs afin de couvrir les frais de déplacement et d'hébergement, ou s'ils se voient effectivement refuser l'accès à la justice en raison des contraintes géographiques et financières. Merci.
Madame la Présidente, pour l'instant, il n'y a pas d'assistance financière qui est offerte aux travailleurs rodriguais qui doivent venir à Maurice faire le déplacement pour loger leur affaire en cours. Comme je vous dis, on est en train d'étudier avec le bureau de l'Attorney General si, avec bien sûr le concours du Chief Justice, si on ne pourrait pas faire entendre les cas par le cours industriel à Rodrigues lui-même. On pourrait aussi éventuellement envisager une situation où la Cour puisse ordonner à l'employeur, s'il est trouvé coupable, d'indemniser les frais des déplacements du travailleur rodriguais. Mais tout cela est à l'étude au bureau, entre mon ministère et le bureau de l'Attorney General.
Yes. OK. Il y a d'autres solutions. Hein?
Well replied.
Il y a d'autres solutions. Mr. Siebel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's question B/271, please.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit that several requests have been received from residents of constituency number 11 regarding improvement of road safety, especially in the highly inhabited areas. The requests pertain mainly to the following: painting of yellow lines for parking prohibitions, painting of yellow boxes, setting of pedestrian crossings, implementation of traffic calming measures such as road humps, limitation of speed by placing traffic signs, and provision of handrails and footpaths, among others. These projects do not warrant feasibility studies as such, as they are fundamentally of small scale. As per normal practice, surveys are conducted and consultative meetings are held with key stakeholders to assess the need for specific projects and determine the most appropriate sites where the improvement works have to be undertaken. Accordingly, upon receipt of requests, the TRMSU coordinates with key stakeholders and the feasibility of the proposed measures or projects are jointly agreed upon. Where warranted, recommendations are made, approved, and projects are implemented within a reasonable time frame, subject to the availability of funds. In cases where the request measures cannot be implemented due to traffic constraints and other technical reasons, the TRMSU explores alternative solutions to enhance road safety. Madam Speaker, I am further informed by the TRMSU that since 2025, the following measures have been recommended and are currently being implemented in constituency number 11. One, painting of single and double yellow lines at 10 locations. Implementation of pedestrian crossing at 2 locations. free implementation of raised table at 3 locations, 4 implementation of traffic signs and road markings at 5 locations, and 5 painting of yellow boxes at 2 locations. For the information of the honourable member, I am tabling details of the works and locations concerned. Madam Speaker, works involve the painting of yellow lines, traffic signs and road markings, and pedestrian crossings are ongoing and are being implemented by the in-house team of the TRMSU. As regards the supply of traffic signs, I am given to understand, including the replenishment of stock, I am given to understand that the contract has recently been awarded. Works for the construction of raised tables will be implemented through the framework agreement contracts which have been recently awarded as well. I would like to underline that this framework agreement was being considered at the level of the CPB, where it sustained an inordinate delay in its finalization. This is the main reason why the implementation of traffic calming measures could not be carried out earlier. I had explained last week on the issues we face for the finalization of that framework agreement. I wish to assure that traffic calming measures which have remained pending, including the installation of speed tables, will henceforth be implemented across the island, including constituency number 11, within the least possible delay. Thank you.
Is there a supplementary? Yes.
Can I ask the Honourable Minister whether he is in a position to request for financial assistance in the forthcoming budget so that the projects that has been identified by the Road Traffic Safety Management Unit, so that they are being implemented as they are measures of safety concerns for the inhabitants?
Yes, of course, this is being done not only for constituency number 11, but for across the island. It's an ongoing exercise now that we are 2 months away from the budget presentation.
Yes.
Madame la Présidente, B272.
Merci. Bien
Madame
que tout le monde
Speaker.
soit réveillé, c'est bien.
Madam Speaker, government is
Yes.
fully cognizant of the impact of prevailing inflationary pressures on households, particularly on the most vulnerable segments of the populations. Since March 2025, the retail prices of additional commodities were put under price control, maximum markup regime. These include 25% markup was introduced on canned vegetable and 34% on frozen packed vegetable to increase the purchasing power of consumers, especially for low to middle income families. The price control list was extended for new products such as canned sausages, canned poultry like luncheon meat, canned tuna, canned prawns, shrimps, butter and margarine. During the budget 2025-2026, the government has removed VAT on essential commodities such as infant foods, canned vegetables and frozen packed vegetables. Furthermore, government has put in place a price stabilization fund of 10 billion rupees over a period of 5 years, representing an annual amount of 2 billion rupees. This fund is specially designed to cushion customers against increases in the prices of essential goods. On 26 of August 2025, government introduced a fixed quantum subsidy mechanism under the price stabilization fund on key essential commodities, namely 1. 50 rupees per kg on milk powder. 2. 15 rupees per litre on edible oil. 3. 55 rupees per 900 grams on infant milk powder. 4. 25 rupees per pack of 50 baby diapers. And 5. 10 rupees per 250 grams on processed cheese. This program has subsequently been expanded as follows. 1. On 15th of January 2026, to include a subsidy of 50 cents per unit on adult diapers. And 2, 1st of February 2026, to include a subsidy of 10 rupees per can on canned mackerel and pilchard, as well as 50 rupees per box on essential medicines, namely anti-hypertensive, cardiovascular and anti-diabetic products, covering some 829 medicines available on the market. Madam Speaker, I wish to underline that this measure is not merely a policy announcement, but it is fully operational. At the end of February 2026, an amount of approximately 641 million rupees for the essential commodities mentioned has already been disbursed under the Price Stabilization Fund. This figure is expected to reach around 900 million rupees by June 2026. The total projected disbursement is around 1.6 billion rupees for the financial year 2025-2026. In addition, an amount of 331 million rupees is being provided to support bakeries for the latter to maintain the price of scheduled bread at 2.60 rupees. These measures are yielding measurable and tangible results. For instance, the subsidy mechanism has contributed to the following: A reduction of approximately 24.2% in the retail price of milk powder. 2, a decrease of around 5.8% in the price of edible oil. 3, reductions ranging between 5% to 6% for other essential commodities. And 4, price decreases of up to 42% for certain essential medicines. In fact, it has been found that the prices of some subsidized commodities are even now lower than those prevailing prior to November 2024. This clearly demonstrates the effectiveness of assistance provided by the government. Government is also providing direct financial assistance to vulnerable groups through social aid schemes, including monthly income support, food assistance, and targeted allowances for single mother, children, and persons with disabilities. Madam Speaker, as demonstrated, government has already implemented a comprehensive assistance framework through the Price Stabilization Fund, which directly addresses the impact of inflation on the most vulnerable segments of the population. Nevertheless, government continues to closely monitor developments and remains prepared to further calibrate and expand targeted support measures where necessary in a manner that is both effective and fiscally sustainable. It is to be noted that this is a main item which is being looked into by the Crisis Committee.
Okay, yes, all right. Mr. Amkelawan was first, then you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the Minister organize through his ministry strict control on edible oil, especially because of low supply, because of some suppliers who are actually hiding some stocks.
Hoarding.
Yeah, exactly.
Hoarding.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the term.
Madam Speaker, I believe that there is full stock of edible oil, but if there is an issue, please contact us on 185 of the hotline.
Merci. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Plus fort, plus fort.
Depuis, puis savoir de l'honorable ministre, depuis la mise en pratique du maximum backup en novembre 2024, on est en train de parler de 700 millions de roupies. Je vous explique. Donnez-moi le temps. 700 millions de roupies, pourcentage. Concrètement, aujourd'hui, est-ce qu'on peut avoir une liste comparative entre novembre 2024 et aujourd'hui de certains produits de base? Si vous n'avez pas, vous pouvez déposer à la table.
En fait, j'ai deux listes avec moi. J'ai une liste des prix avec subside. Donc, il y a le lait Farmland, par exemple. Aujourd'hui, c'est en vente à 256 roupies 62. Quand on le compare avec 2024, en novembre 2024, c'était à 274 roupies 90.
Ne nous lisez pas tout.
Donc, je peux donner quelques exemples.
Allez, 3.
Oui, 3 exemples côté subside. OK. Donc, Bega Processed Cheese, 82 roupies 49 aujourd'hui. Et en novembre 2024, c'était à 95 roupies 29. Wow. Et puis, de l'huile Moroil, 71,49 aujourd'hui. Et c'était en novembre, aujourd'hui, et en novembre 2024, c'était à 79,70. J'ai aussi quelques items ici sur les produits maximum markup. Je vais aussi donner 3 items. Donc, McCain, Tradition Fries, 134 roupies 21 aujourd'hui, le prix maximum. Et en novembre 2024, c'était à 183 roupies, soit 36,5% en moins. Donc, deuxième item, Watties Garden Peas, 900 grammes, 170 roupies 54 aujourd'hui. Et c'était en novembre 2024, 236 roupies, soit 38% aujourd'hui en moins. Un dernier point, Belinda Red Kidney Beans, 29 roupies 73 aujourd'hui. Et en novembre 2024, c'était à 46 roupies, soit 54% en moins. Et aussi, je vais prendre la peine de déposer sur la table. Merci.
Oui, oui, je crois que c'est bien. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le ministre. Heureusement qu'on a bien mangé, ça ne nous donne pas faim. Okay, any more? Mr. Juman, you finished? Okay, next question has been withdrawn, B273. So now I'm asking for 274, Dr. Omir.
B274, please.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Financial Services Commission that there are currently 12 leasing companies licensed and operating in Mauritius. 9 of these are domestic, while 3 are global business license holders. Madam Speaker, the FSC carries out on-site inspections for its licensees, including leasing companies using a risk-based approach derived from the National Risk Assessment. Entities falling within very high-risk clusters and carrying out very high-risk ratings are inspected annually, while inspection cycles become longer as the level of risk decreases at either the cluster or entity level, ranging from every 2 to 7 years. Such entities remain subject to ongoing off-site monitoring and supervisory oversight to ensure continued compliance with AML-CFT requirements. Leasing activities were rated as medium risk based on the 2019 NRA report. Based on this risk rating, the FSC deployed its risk-based on-site inspection plan for the sector. During period 2020 to 2024, the FSC conducted 6 on-site inspections. And following the publication of the NRA report 2025, that is last year, whereby the leasing sector was rated at medium-high risk, so more elevated risk, the FSC carried out 3 inspections of leasing companies in 2025. Out of the 9 leasing companies that have been subject to inspections between 2020 and 2025, 3 companies were identified as having shortcomings to a varying extent in their AML-CFT systems and controls. And out of these 3 companies, 1 leasing company was identified as having serious deficiencies in its AML-CFT controls and was placed under close monitoring by the FSC. As at August 2025, Madam Speaker, the deficiencies identified were still not adequately remedied. Subsequently, that leasing company was placed under investigation, which is still ongoing. Madam Speaker, at this stage, I have been informed that information relating to the investigation is being treated with confidentiality at the level of the Financial Services Commission.
Thank you, Minister. Any questions? Yes, Doctor?
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, may I ask the Honourable Minister whether she has any information in regard to certain leasing companies based in Mauritius who are being used as smokescreen for those who have been recently arrested by the Financial Crime Commission with regard to money laundering and drug trafficking in the acquisition of super luxury cars and pleasure crafts.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am not aware of the details of any specific case because FSC does not give confidential case-by-case information. However, what I can say is that there is this one case where the clients of that company are being investigated, and there have been collaboration between FSC and FCC, which is ongoing at the moment.
Yes, Dr. Mia.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. May I therefore request the Honourable Minister whether his ministry can conduct an in-depth inquiry, particularly on two leasing companies, which I'm going to share the information with you afterwards, who are heavily, at 80%, involved in the acquisition of these super luxury cars and pleasure craft, by particularly one of them, whereby no strict KYC has been done in regards to those who are looking for leasing facilities.
I look forward to receiving that information, and I have also highlighted to the FSC in view of the recent cases since last year that we have read in the press, to increase the on-site inspection of leasing companies which looks like are being used as washing machines for not for dirty money, basically. But I look forward to receiving that, which I will then transmit to the FSC. Thank you.
Okay. Is that okay, everyone? All right. Now, so there are so many cases that have been withdrawn. Maybe I shall do this for the moment and tell you. Table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn. B309, 290, 287, 300, 280, 296, 273, 303, 301, 306, 307, and 315. But we still have a little bit of time to finish. Donc, now, okay, so now, Mr. Jagana, yes?
Madam Speaker, please. B275.
I shall, with your permission, I shall reply to parliamentary question B275. With regards to Part A, I'm informed that the NSLD, that scope of works consists mainly of upgrading an existing earthen cut-off drain located upstream of the NSLD site up to its discharge point in Rivière Savane, realigning part of the existing drain, constructing two new culverts at road crossings along the B9 road and an existing track road, concrete lining of the existing arch bridge near Domaine de Cascade, and ancillary works, including the relocation of existing services and reinstatement of affected areas. The cost of the project is estimated at 128.5 million. Probably take some. As regards Part B, I am further informed by the NSLD that the contract has been awarded to Transinvest Construction Limited. With regards to Part C, the works are expected to be completed by the 28th of December 2026.
Okay, yes. All right, next question, Dr. Delvero.
B276, s'il vous plaît.
Yes, Madam Speaker, the registration of small and medium enterprises at my ministry is governed by the provisions of the SME Act 2017. According to the first schedule of the Act, SMEs are categorized as micro-enterprise, where the annual turnover does not exceed 10 million rupees, small enterprise where the annual turnover exceeds 10 million but does not exceed 30 million rupees, medium enterprise where the annual enterprise exceeds 30 million but does not exceed 100 million, and mid-market enterprise where turnover exceeds 100 million but does not exceed 250 million rupees. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that SMEs are not registered by SME Mauritius Limited, which is a government-owned private company falling under the purview of my ministry, but rather by the SME registration unit of my ministry. I am informed that as at date there are 23,429 SMEs registered with my ministry. Regarding part A of the question, I wish to inform the House that neither SME Mauritius Limited nor my ministry provide any kind of loan to SMEs. In fact, SME can avail of loan facilities from the DBM, the MoBank, the Industrial Finance Corporation of Mauritius, IFCM, as well as from commercial banks. As regards to my ministry, SME Mauritius provides grants to SMEs under various schemes, namely the Business Transformation Scheme, Technology and Innovation Scheme, Market Readiness Scheme, Greening Support Scheme, and Agribusiness Scheme. Madam Speaker, regarding part B of the question, I am informed that assessments of obstacles faced by business enterprises have been made by several government institutions as follows. The SME division of my ministry continuously carries out assessment of the difficulties faced by SMEs through regular site visits and consultation with SME. SME Mauritius also carries out consultation with SMEs to identify their operational challenges with a view to formulating targeted trainings and schemes in order to address these obstacles. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade of the Mauritius Chamber of Commerce jointly manage the Trade Obstacles Alert Mechanism since 2015. The platform provides a proactive framework to identify and address trade obstacles encountered by the business community in course of import and export operations. The Mauritius Chamber of Commerce and Industry also conducts regular meetings under specific commissions and committees. For instance, its Commerce, Industry and Services and Economic Commission to take stock of issues and obstacles for its members. Madam Speaker, regarding part C of the question, I am informed that Mauritius has signed a number of trade agreements with friendly countries, namely the European Union, the UK, China and India, which provide for duty-free and quota-free access for our locally manufactured products with a view to overcoming of trade barriers. The trade agreements are mainly the Eastern and Southern Africa European Union Economic Partnership Agreement, Eastern and Southern Africa United Kingdom Economic Partnership Agreement, Mauritius-China Trade Agreement, Mauritius-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, which is called SECPA, and Mauritius-United Arab Emirates Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Mauritius is also a member of regional trade blocs such as the SADC, the COMESA, and African Continental Free Trade Area. However, I wish to inform the House that FTAs signed with friendly countries not only benefit Mauritian entrepreneurs, but in some cases, they tend to be more advantageous to the foreign countries exporting to Mauritius. This has even led to situations like dumping of very cheap, low-quality goods from overseas markets. Madam Speaker, regarding measures to support our local enterprises to international, I am informed that a number of export schemes are available and managed by the EDB to boost the competitiveness of export manufacturing enterprises, namely the Trade and Marketing Scheme, Freight Rebate Scheme, Export Credit Guarantee Insurance Scheme, and Participation in International Affairs SME Refund Scheme. Furthermore, my ministry, through SME Mauritius Limited, provides support to SMEs under various grant schemes aimed at assisting enterprises in product development, certification, export readiness, among others. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Dr. Dawiao.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the Honourable Minister consider an impact evaluation or assessment to show how public funds have delivered real growth?
Yes, of course, this can be done.
Good. Dr. Praya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B277, please.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that a plot of land measuring 8,881 meters square situated at L'Amitié has been duly acquired by government and vested in the District Council of Rivière-du-Remport in October 2025 for the purpose of constructing a football ground together with the necessary amenities. Following the vesting, the site has already been cleared in December 2025, and a site visit was carried out in collaboration with the Ministry of Housing and Land to confirm boundary points and facilitate preparatory works. Madam Speaker, the estimated cost of the project is approximately 40 million rupees. However, due to budgetary constraints, implementation could not proceed during the current financial year. The District Council of Rivière-du-Remport has included this capital project as a priority in its proposal for the financial year 2026-2027. Implementation will therefore proceed once the necessary financial provision is secured, subject to prioritization by the Ministry of Finance and the completion of all required administrative and technical clearances. In the meantime, I have requested the District Council to ensure that the site is maintained in a clean condition. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. No other questions? Okay, I think we will do a last one with Mr. Apollon. Oh, did you have, oh, no, you're calling someone. Mr. Apollon.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. B278.
That's the last question.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that, as already raised under parliamentary question B601, government is fully apprised of the deteriorated condition of the steel jetty at the Mayberg waterfront, which has been closed for safety reasons, and for the urgent needs for its replacement to ensure public safety while supporting tourism and local economic activities. A document detailing the different structural options currently under consideration for the replacement of the jetty is being tabled for the benefit of the House. These include various design configuration and materials options suitable for the marine environment. Among these, a reinforced concrete structure is one of the leading options under consideration, given its durability, reduced maintenance, and long-term cost effectiveness. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that the estimated cost for the replacement project is approximately 25 million rupees based on preliminary technical assessment carried out by the District Council of Grandport. In this regard, provision has been made in the forthcoming financial estimate for an interim allocation of 25 million rupees to enable the project to proceed to its preparatory phase in the next financial year. This will cover, among others, the appointment of consultant for detailed design, structure and drawings, the carried out of engineering studies and feasibility assessment, and the undertaking of the environment impact assessment and other statutory process as may be required. These preparatory works will be subject to the approval of the Ministry of Finance and to the necessary clearances from the Ministry of Environment and other authorities. Expected as regard to part B of the question, Madam Speaker, the project is presently at its preparatory stage. The commencement of physical works will depend on the finalization of the selected structured option, completion of all the technical studies, and the obtaining of the required statutory approvals. Subject to these approvals and financial clearances, implementation will proceed thereafter in a structured and timely manner, and it would be premature at this stage to commit a firm start and completion dates. In the meantime, Madam Speaker, I wish to reassure the House that appropriate safety measures remain in place at the Maber waterfront to ensure public safety pending the implementation of the project.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Paul.
Madam Speaker, thank you, Minister. I thank you for your answer. Can I make a request for a site visit at the Maibu waterfront to see this eyesore, which every week are being posted on social media, so that we can give this renovation a priority for the next budget?
Of course, Madam. We can make a site visit at convenience of the Honourable Member.
The presence
no
of
problem. Yeah.
all concerned.
No problem.
Thank you. So sweetly said. Time is up. Okay. These are new ones, huh? These are new ones. Okay. The table has been advised that the following PQs, over and above those I've already mentioned, have been withdrawn. B317, 251, 288, 282, 311, 289, 302, 305, 313, 295, 291, 294, 283, 299, 279, 280, 286, 314, 304, 292 and 298 and 312 have been withdrawn. Yes, Prime Minister?
That all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Thank you. The question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statement by Minister.
Yes. Yes, Honourable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I have to make a statement about a matter raised by the former DPM concerning conversation that I had with him regarding one Mr. Casey. I wish to dispel all doubts that may unfortunately linger after that statement of the former DPM. In fact, it is the former DPM who had called me, and among others, he asked me questions relating to an inquiry which had to be initiated at the level of my ministry regarding a particular school, but which had not started for reasons beyond my control. I also related an incident when the said Mr. Casey had brought someone to my office at MITD Phoenix regarding the same matter, and I had asked them to leave as it was inappropriate for me to speak to them given that an inquiry had been initiated. The conversation, which had hardly started, was cut short by myself as soon as I realized that the person brought to see me wanted to speak about the school, which was subject of the inquiry. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Big bill, second reading.
Yes, Mr. Asiavaden. Honourable Asiavaden.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Minister.
Je ne serai pas long. Et, Madame la Présidente, je suis heureux de commenter ces amendements présentés par ma collègue, the Anti-Money Laundering, Combating the Financing of Terrorism and Countering Proliferation Financing Bill. Madame la Présidente, sûrement les Mauriciens et les Mauriciennes en général qui nous écoutent concernant ces amendements se posent la question: quelle est l'utilité d'emmener ces amendements en 2026? Est-ce que ces amendements sont des priorités, c'est la priorité des priorités de ce gouvernement dans ce contexte où on est? Et moi aussi, je me suis posé la question quand ma collègue emmenait les amendements au cabinet, et je me suis fait un devoir d'aller lire. Ce n'est pas vraiment dans ma ligne d'action en tant que ministre, mais je me suis fait un devoir d'aller lire ce qui a été proposé par ma collègue. Et la conclusion qui est sortie assez rapidement, c'est que ce projet de loi est pertinent à l'heure actuelle. Nécessaire, pertinent, nécessaire et d'une importance capitale. Car cela s'inscrit dans une volonté claire: améliorer de manière substantielle l'efficacité de notre pays dans la lutte contre la criminalité financière sous toutes ses formes, qu'il soit blanchiment d'argent, financement du terrorisme ou encore des mécanismes de financement liés à la prolifération. Et aussi, en lisant, en essayant de comprendre, quand même, c'est technique, hein, il y a une technicité dans ces amendements. Il s'agit également de permettre à nos institutions d'agir avec davantage de rapidité, de précision, d'efficacité face à des pratiques de plus en plus sophistiquées. Il faudra peut-être, pour les Mauriciens et les Mauriciennes en général, de se poser la question, pourquoi ces amendements, pourquoi en sommes-nous arrivés là, en avril 2026? La réponse, partielle du moins, est que nous faisons face à l'héritage d'une décennie marquée par un scandale financier de tout genre sous le régime du MSM. Avec comme Premier ministre Pravin Kumar Jagnnath. Une décennie durant laquelle les dérives se sont accumulées, où les garde-fous institutionnels ont été contournés, comme les bouchons de champagne, sautés, où des pratiques inacceptables ont pris racine. Le blanchiment d'argent ne relevait plus de l'exception il y a 10 ans de cette décennie. Il tendait à devenir un véritable pilier du monde opératoire de l'ancien régime. Et c'est précisément pour rompre avec cette logique que nous devons aujourd'hui agir avec détermination. Madame la Présidente, j'ai vu que l'amendement au Banking Act et FIU, section 26, 50, 53A, 69 vont être proposés pour être amendés. Je ne sais pas, en ce qui concerne mes collègues, mais quelque temps de cela, quand, depuis notre arrivée au pouvoir, j'ai entendu parler du reward money. Ce reward money, à mon avis, Madame la Présidente, est un des dossiers qui a profondément marqué l'opinion, les Mauriciens et les Mauriciennes en général. Marqué l'opinion publique. Pour beaucoup de Mauriciens qui m'écoutent ce soir, ce dossier est devenu le symbole même de la dilapidation des fonds publics sous le MSM. Et j'entends certaines personnes disent que, enfin, ils ont la nostalgie du temps du MSM. C'est la dilapidation du fonds. Mais au même moment, c'est la nature même du système qui interpelle. Car ceux qui étaient concernés à un moment donné, Madame la Présidente, qui étaient touchés, c'était le cœur même de nos institutions. Quand des unités comme le Special Striking Team, le Special Intelligence Cell, the Counter-Terrorism Unit, the Force Crime Intelligence Unit étaient touchés, la population était choquée, pour ne pas dire scandalisée, quand nous avons vu des retraits en espèces. Aller à la banque, essayer de faire un retrait de 300 000 roupies. Ou aller à la banque, le Mauricien qui m'écoute ce soir, aller à la banque, essayer de mettre 50 000 roupies que vous avez eu en cadeau de vos enfants de l'étranger. La banque vous demande the source of fund. La banque vous demande de remplir une fiche pour mettre 200 000 roupies en cash. Et ici, entre le 18 octobre 2024 et le 7 novembre 2024, pas moins de 14 millions de roupies ont été retirés du compte d'un ACP de police sous l'ancien régime MSM. Alors que le Premier ministre s'asseyait là, ici, à la place de l'honorable Sababati. Ces retraits, Madame la Présidente, effectués en raison de 1 million de roupies par jour. Mais cela n'a ring the bell pour personne. L'ancien ministre des Finances, Padayachi, l'ancien Premier ministre, mais n'a rien vu. 14 millions de roupies de retrait chaque jour. Oui. justement, ces retraits effectués en raison de 1 million de roupies par jour dépassaient largement les plafonds fixés par la Financial Intelligence Anti-Money Laundering Act. Justement, juste avant les élections. Vous voyez la pertinence de ces amendements? Je n'ai pas l'habitude de féliciter les gens trop facilement, moi. Hein? Mais là, je suis obligé de féliciter ma collègue. C'est un fait que là, la pertinence est là. C'est précisément pour répondre à ce type de dérive de reward money, que les amendements proposés à la législation bancaire prennent tout leur sens. Ainsi, la modification apportée à la section 26.2 de la Bank of Mauritius pourra désormais divulguer toute information nécessaire pour faire un signalement ou transmettre un dossier aux autorités. Madame la Présidente, j'ai écouté avec attention ce matin. Quand j'ai lu l'amendement à la Banking Act, section 53, 64, 64A, 64B, 64C, je vous l'ai dit, il y a beaucoup de technicité dans ces amendements. Quand j'ai écouté avec attention la réponse du Premier ministre ce matin, Silver Bank, c'est vrai, moi je pense que l'ancien Premier ministre a raison de se cacher. Non, a raison de se cacher, on le voit que simplement quand il y a des dépôts gerbes. Si aujourd'hui nous sommes contraints de procéder à ces amendements à la Banking Act, ce n'est pas le fruit du hasard. Vous réalisez, de 2022 à 2023. Laissez-moi répéter ce que le Premier ministre avait dit ce matin. De 2022 à 2023, cette société liée à un homme d'affaires indien, j'ai oublié son nom, Gupta, l'ami de Padayachi, Gupta, ont obtenu des prêts toxic loan, d'un montant variant de 157 millions à 200 millions chacun. Au total, 1,2 milliard qui a été débloqué par cette banque, aujourd'hui en liquidation. Le MSM, ça c'est le temps du MSM. Et on voit aujourd'hui la pertinence de ce que l'honorable membre emmène en ce qui concerne les amendements. Madame la Présidente, l'affaire Silver Bank n'est pas un cas isolé, malheureusement pour le pays. Elle est le symptôme d'un système MSM qui nécessitait une réforme en profondeur. Ces amendements viennent précisément combler les lacunes qui ont permis l'émergence de tels abus en renforçant la transparence, la supervision et la coopération entre institutions. Madame la Présidente, je suis avec mon heure. Maradiva, encore une fois, le papa qui m'écoute ce soir ou la maman qui m'écoute ce soir, Maradiva, c'est votre argent qui a été dévalisé. C'est l'argent de la State Bank, l'argent des fonctionnaires. 470 millions de roupies donnés à une compagnie que je ne connaissais même pas le nom. Dina Anavatam, plus connue sous Maradiva. Une affaire troublante. 470 millions de roupies accordés en juillet 2024, à la veille des élections générales, par la State Bank of Mauritius, dont le propriétaire est, on le connaît, le beau-frère du Premier ministre, la cuisine, Don Georges. L'ancien Premier ministre. Oui, l'ancien Premier ministre. Ouais, l'ancien Premier ministre. Pour vous dire, Madame la Présidente, que c'est précisément pour répondre à ce type de situation que le projet de loi amende désormais la Company Act en redéfinissant la notion de beneficial owner. Désormais, il ne s'agit plus seulement de détenteur officiel d'actions, mais de toute personne qui contrôle réellement une société, directement ou indirectement. Ce n'est pas fini, Madame la Présidente. Vous réalisez, au lendemain de la Covid, alors que le pays est encore meurtri, MIC, ils ont dévalisé Quand j'étais juste à côté ici dans l'opposition, je me suis servi du mot bangolais. J'ai dû retirer ce mot par l'ancien speaker quand je disais qu'on a bangolé. Allez voir le mot bangolé. Bangolé, tout ce que le peuple a travaillé pendant des années. Des transactions, ils ont bangolé d'abord l'héritage de la population. Dévaliser l'héritage de la population, plusieurs milliards de roupies sous le Covid, selon leur réflexion pour aider les compagnies, alors que c'était pour aider Pack and Blister, pour aider... Comment? Les amis d'enfance. Justement, 2 milliards de roupies bangolées, Madame la Présidente. C'est dans cette optique, Madame la Présidente, que nous saluons les amendements emmenés cet après-midi. Et c'est pas fini. On n'a pas, je pense que les Mauriciens et les Mauriciennes en général n'ont pas oublié l'affaire de Ambre Hotel. Ambre Hotel, le rachat de l'Ambre Hotel ont particulièrement retenu l'attention dans le cas de Ambre Hotel, un accord conclu en 2022 pour un montant de 2,1 milliards de roupies a finalement donné lieu à un paiement de 48 millions d'euros en 2024, soit environ 2,4 milliards de roupies. Et l'écart, le Premier ministre disait ça ce matin, l'écart, vous savez l'écart de combien? 300 millions de roupies. 300 millions de roupies qui a changé de compte. 300 millions de roupies qui est sorti sur un compte pour aller sur un autre compte pour la commission. Vous réalisez, Madame la Présidente, un paiement de devise dans un contexte de tension sur les réserves soulève des questions fondamentales sur la transparence au temps du MSM, sur la gouvernance au temps du MSM et l'opacité sous l'ancien régime MSM. Encore une fois, je salue ma collègue, mais ce n'est pas fini, c'est malheureux pour ce pays. Peut-être on a oublié, certains ont oublié dans ce pays l'affaire Bet 365. Un attorney general, l'ancien attorney general, Madame la Présidente, un scandale financier sous l'ancien régime, touchant l'ancien attorney general, qui s'est retrouvé au cœur de l'affaire 365. Un moment dans ce pays. Et vous êtes étonné que nous sommes visés, nous sommes sous la menace de grey listing de la FATF. On ne peut pas être étonné quand on a des telles personnes pour diriger notre pays. Un attorney général, à un moment donné, fut accusé d'avoir facilité le déblocage des gains de plusieurs dizaines de millions de roupies auprès d'une plateforme Bet 365, d'être intervenu l'ancien attorney général Rigadou, avocat des Jacknat, est intervenu au-delà de ses fonctions. Vous réalisez, l'attorney général, d'avoir participé à la mise en place d'un montage financier international impliquant des comptes à Dubaï et en Suisse. L'ancien attorney général. Vous réalisez quel niveau d'attorney général on est arrivé dans, on est tombé dans ce... On avait touché le fond à un moment donné. Comment? Ouais. Ah, il est le conseil. Il était. Madame la Présidente, de duty free, mais il y en a beaucoup, dit Covid-19. Vous vous rappelez comment la population a souffert pendant la période de Covid-19? La période de Covid-19 restera l'un des moments les plus difficiles, les plus durs de notre histoire récente. Elle a également relevé des pratiques profondément préoccupantes. Ainsi, la population a fait face à la peur, vous vous rappelez, à la maladie, à l'incertitude, ou au même moment des contrats de plusieurs centaines de millions de roupies ont été attribués par la STC dans des conditions qui continuent d'interroger quincaillerie, bijouterie,
entreprises nouvellement créées ont obtenu des contrats. Et ces gens-là, aujourd'hui, osent nous pointer du doigt. Ce MSM-là ose nous pointer du doigt. Quand des Rolex sont en circulation partout dans des valises, hein? Justement, ce contraste entre la détresse de la population et certaines décisions prises dans ce temps dans l'attribution des marchés publics est profondément troublant. Ces situations mettent en lumière l'importance des amendements récents à la Financial Intelligence and Anti-Money Laundering Act. Grâce à la section 10A, la FIU peut désormais suspendre toute transaction suspecte et demander des informations supplémentaires, empêchant ainsi des flux financiers douteux de se concrétiser, comme au temps du MSM. Et c'est pas fini. Mami Ravatomanga, vous réalisez 7,3 milliards de roupies ont été transférés sous le régime du MSM. 7,3 milliards de roupies effectuées à différentes périodes qui soulèvent des interrogations majeures. Comment autant d'argent ont pu atterrir sur des comptes ici à Maurice sans qu'aucune institution ne voit rien, aucun responsable ne voit, aucun Premier ministre ne lève, qui est responsable suprême du pays, ne voit rien. Vous réalisez avec qui vous vous êtes assis, vous réalisez 7,3 milliards de roupies. Ouais. Madame la Présidente, vous voyez, après que je suis retourné un peu dans le passé, j'ai dû le faire, simplement pour que la population réalise dans quelle priorité nous emmenons ces amendements. La priorité, c'est que nous faisons face à une menace. Et la menace, c'est telle que nous devons mettre tout en pratique pour que les institutions fonctionnent. Car sans des institutions fortes, crédibles, cohérentes, nous n'allons pas pouvoir faire avancer ce pays. Maurice, Madame la Présidente, doit demeurer une juridiction respectée, fiable, exemplaire. À mon avis, c'est une question de souveraineté, c'est une question d'intégrité, c'est une question d'honneur national. Madame la Présidente, sincèrement, je suis heureux de soutenir pleinement ce projet de loi. Merci.
Je vous remercie. Nous allons lever la séance pour une demi-heure.